Scars of Violence. Two youth challenge ambassadors, Charles Farrow and Dragan tackle a problem of violence causing trauma and instability in the DRC and its seemingly endless trail of destruction.
Violence. Almost everybody knows it, and it's a problem with really no clear solution. Violence is a powerful tool designed to cause harm and destruction to objects, peoples, and thoughts, creating scars in their place. Almost everyone in the DRC, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, has experienced violence at some point in their life, and I'm sorry to say, but it's almost what they're known for today. Homicide and political violences have plagued the region ever since the late 1800s.
In a study with the World Health Organization, or WHO, they said for about every 100,000 people, about 12.5 had been victims of homicide. This might sound very small or insignificant, but in other countries with way higher population and way lower homicide rates, you truly start to believe how much violence has plagued the DRC. But now, let's go back a little. What and where is the DRC? The DRC is located in the central part of Africa, right here. This is the largest landmass in Africa, and one of the richest countries in their natural resources. The DRC has the world's largest supply of cobalt, huge reserves of uranium, and enormous potential for hydropower. And a lot of technologies we use and see today come from the DRC's resources. Throughout history, these resources have attracted outside powers that only care about the profit.
And the exploitation of these natural resources have been one of the leading causes for violence throughout its history and even today in the DRC. But before all this colonization, the area where the DRC now lies was rather peaceful.
The Kingdom of Congo, one of the largest kingdoms in the area, was connected through trade, cooperation, and a decentralized government. Very different from the DRC we know today. Speaking of which, let's get into that. In the Berlin Conference in the late 1800s, European countries divided Africa among themselves, not caring whatsoever for the people living there.
Many tribes, kingdoms, and miscellaneous groups would be broken apart, totally changing the people and their history. The area where the DRC now is was turned into the Congo Free State, directly handed into the greedy hands of King Leopold II of Belgium. And because he was the sole owner of this colony, he could do whatever he wanted with it, which he decided was brutal control over the people of the Free State. Forced labor, torture, executions, and mutilations were everyday actions carried out amongst the people. Whole entire villages would be completely destroyed just so commodities and resources like rubber could be extracted faster.
Finally, in 1960, the Congo Free State gained its independence and became the Democratic Republic of Congo.
But even after the freedom, there was seemingly no hope in sight. Because of this extreme brutality and violence and colonization, war and conflict would bleed throughout the region for centuries to come. But let's step back a bit. Let's maybe draw you a mental picture. Imagine you're sitting out on your porch. Breeze blowing through the trees, birds are chirping, the sun is launching its rays on your face. You've been free from oppression and slavery. You've been put under for decades, and you've had your independence for almost 3 years now. You see a local army marching through your village. Why or who even they are, you have no clue, but they seem to be approaching something. But something feels off. They're not wearing uniforms, but just ragtag military gear. And then it hits you. They're not the army, the rebellion fighters. During the Malaya Rebellion of 1963, huge chunks of the DRC were put under brutality and violence from government forces and rebel forces alike, committing atrocity against civilians. Many families would watch their loved ones be tortured and killed in front of them across the pavement, and really, it was horrible. Many innocent civilians would suffer from the extreme brutality of both forces. And really, this is just because violence had become so natural in the region that human life stopped feeling valuable. One survivor, Eugene Kitoto, described watching a man, specifically his uncle, be mutilated to the point of paralysis right in front of his own eyes. The man could not speak after what the militaries had done to him. He could not speak, move, or anything at all, and the soldiers laughed in his face. Himself, Eugene, actually was a survivor himself, and after being shot and escaped, he fled to a nearby village, and they laughed at his injuries too. No help was ever offered. And really, this is just what happens when violence is in an area for so long. compassion fades and cruelty is replaced by cruelty as the new norm.
But through all the pain and suffering, a jewel emerged, someone who could finally break this cycle. Patrice Lumumba. Lumumba grew up very poor and faced lots of discrimination throughout his whole entire life. But he was incredibly talented as a speaker and writer. He believed the Congolese people deserved freedom, dignity, and a self-government. But a generous offer from the Belgian's Prime Minister of Colonies was just too good to be true, taking him on a round trip to Belgium and giving him a citizenship gave the post office grounds a reason to arrest him for embezzlement, sending him to prison for up to 2 years. But after prison, he got out, and after prison, he got into politics, and this is when the true change started.
Through the Congolese national movement, Lumumba became one of the leading voices for independence, and in 1960, he became the first prime minister of the newly freed DRC. But independence could not change decades of violence. So the systems left behind by colonization created instability, division, and massive power vacuum. And within a year, Lumumba was taken out of power and eventually executed during the Congo crisis. Foreign governments became involved, corrupt officials fought for control, and the country spiraled deeper into violence.
And I'd like to highlight something here. Patrice did just about everything right. He followed what he thought was right for himself and his people, but yet he was still put down. Lumumba tried to unite his country, but he too was again put down. He even reached out to the United Nations for help, but they denied it. He believed the DRC could become stable and free again, but the damage caused by exploitation from the previous years was too deeply rooted.
Because violence is rarely one moment. It leaves scars, holes in mental state and history that can't be patched with ordinary means. And even today, the DRC still struggles with many of these same issues. Armed conflicts still rage in parts of the region.
Thousands of civilians still suffer from displacement, assault, and political violence to this day. Many children grow up surrounded by fear instead of stability. Rape is a very common act of violence in the DRC. In 2025, a study by the UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, reported that between the months of January and February, 10,000 cases of rape occurred. 35 to 40% of these cases were against children. That means for every 30 minutes, a case of rape occurred. Mass shootings also still ravage throughout the nation, targeting medical centers and churches.
And the cycles we see here can happen anywhere. Violence spreads when hatred, fear, and suffering are passed from one person to another without proper healing. And while most of us can't go and fix global problems in other countries, we can still make a difference every single day. And really, that's a good segue to, I think, what's most important that we address. There probably isn't a perfect solution to violence. Us humans have been causing death and destruction to each other for thousands of years. And really, world peace, it sounds amazing, I agree, but it may just always feel just out of reach.
But that doesn't mean small actions are meaningless. Because cycles can come to an end, they need energy to start and energy to end. You don't need millions of dollars and a government title to make a difference. By supporting people through the trauma and not perhaps laughing or bullying someone, you can make a true difference in their life too.
By helping someone instead of ignoring them, you can make a difference in them. By refusing cycles that cause pain for everyone around you, you can make a difference. You may not be able to fix the whole world,
but you can make someone's life a whole lot better. And maybe that's the biggest thing we can learn from this talk, is that violence spreads when people lose connections to others and themselves.
but healing starts when people start to care.
Thank you.